Today I'll show you the 10 best ways to improve fast on controller in Fortnite. Now before we begin, I recently switched from keyboard and mouse to controller, so please do not expect any crazy mechanics or gameplay. My progression video is right here if you want to check it out. And with this learning experience, I've gathered 10 tips that no other controller player will tell you to help you improve your skill on controller in Fortnite. With that being said, let's get into the first tip. Now, this might seem like a pretty straightforward thing to tell you, but let me say, finding the right controller and sensitivity is so important. Before I started learning how to play controller, I went to the store and tested the feel of a few different controllers to see which one felt most comfortable. When I was a kid, I used to play Xbox games, so I felt most comfortable with getting an Xbox controller. I found the Xbox Elite controller was the most comfortable for me, with it having paddles on the back so I could have some extra keybinds, so I bought that one. So make sure you choose the right controller for you. For your sensitivity, you want to find a comfortable sensitivity and stick to it. I always see people messing around with their sensitivity and never getting used to it, meaning they'll never be able to master their sensitivity. So make sure you find the right one and stick to it. I found the fastest way to improve was not by playing normal games of Fortnite, but literally just sitting in creative all day for a few days, just practicing your aim, editing, freebuilding, and of course, piece control. Now, as you know, piece control is one of the major things in Fortnite that allows you to win fights. So I definitely recommend spending a lot of your time practicing your piece control. Once you've dedicated at least a few days to purely just practice, you can then apply your skills that you've learned into creative fill games or actual games. And almost instantly, you'll find yourself playing so much better as you've learned what plays are right and what plays are wrong. There are so many different practice maps in Fortnite to help you out, which is pretty much what I did for the first week of learning controller. Now, most controller players play on consoles, which means they'll probably be using a TV. Making a switch from a TV to a monitor is one of the best ways to improve, because generally a monitor will display a lot more frames than a TV would, and it will also appear to have a lot less input delay. You definitely want to be playing on a lower input delay to get the best results from your game. There is a massive range of monitors, so you might have to do some research beforehand, but you definitely want to get a monitor with high resolution and preferably over 120 Hz, especially if you're going to make a switch to a PC in the future. Currently on my gaming setup, I use two 144 Hz monitors, the one on the left being the one that I game on, and the one on the right being the one that I use for everything else, like Discord, Spotify, and whatever else I need. You don't need two monitors, but you definitely want to be playing on one good monitor. This next tip might sound really random and useless, but let me tell you, stretching your wrists and fingers will allow your hands to be free and ready to play. Doing this before, during, and after you play will definitely benefit your gameplay much more than you might think. You don't want to be playing without stretching, as you might get sore hands and fingers, or even something called RSI, which means repetitive strain injury, and trust me, when I first started playing controller, I got this and it's not fun. So stretching your fingers is so important. The next thing I'd suggest getting is controller add-ons. Controller add-ons have become really popular in the last few years, ranging from control freaks to trigger stoppers to controller grip. All of these products can help you in many different ways, and although I don't own any of these, I highly recommend getting some of these add-ons for your controller. Control freaks are some of the most popular add-ons for your controller that you'll see most pro controller players using. On my controller, I have paddles, which technically is an add-on, but that already comes with the controller itself. Getting a PC is definitely a great purchase to make, especially for a controller player. And although I understand many people cannot get a PC, it's definitely a massive consideration, as you'll be getting a lot higher FPS in-game, much more optimization for quality, and much less input delay than you would get on a regular console. So all around, a PC is a great switch to make, and most controllers support PC, so you can plug your controller straight into your PC and play right away. Now this next tip is super important for improving in Fortnite. As I said before, practicing and working on your in-game mechanics is a major consideration, but many Fortnite players don't know the value of crosshair placement. When practicing your editing, you want to make sure that you're getting all of your edits down in the most efficient way. This could mean practice editing really slow for a while to ensure that you get your crosshair placement on point. You want to make sure you're as close as possible to each tile every time you're editing. This will make sure you're hitting the edit each time, and you'll be able to win fights so much more easily with this. Now, it might be fun being able to easily eliminate your friends who are trash at Fortnite, but versing players similar skill level to you, or players who are better than you, is actually a really great way to improve fast, as over time you'll learn how they play, and you'll be able to protect yourself and have a much better game sense when versing them, so you can use this to practice in real games. Now, in my first week of learning controller, I sat in creative versing my friends who were much better than me at the time, and from learning their plays, I was able to play against that and end up beating them. So this is definitely a great way to improve. Playing realistic creative maps that simulate real games of Fortnite is a great way to help you practice your actual game sense and get a much better feel on how real games play out. I used realistic maps for the first week, and now I feel a lot more comfortable in real game fight situations. There is a massive range of realistic maps in Fortnite, ranging from zone wars, box fights, and even just practice maps like aiming, editing, and building. Realistic maps are so important to improve, and you should definitely try them when practicing on controller. Now, the final tip of this video is a very important aspect for controller players to improve, and you'll probably hear every single controller player tell you to do this, but switching from normal grip to claw or paddles is a great way to get better at the game. Learning claw might be difficult as it completely messes up your muscle memory, but once you learn it, your gameplay will be super smooth as you'll always have your thumbs on the joysticks. It may take a few days or even weeks to learn claw or paddles, but trust me, it will make you a much better player and your gameplay will look so good. As you can see in my gameplay right here, I'm using standard grip, but for the past few days, I've rebinded my paddles on the back of my controller as an alternative to claw. At the end of the day, it's just personal preference on what you want to learn, but I highly recommend it. So that's 10 tips I recommend taking in consideration when trying to improve on controller. Once again, I've just started controller, so these tips are what I use to help me learn in the first week or so. Thank you again so much for watching this video, and if anything in this video helped you out in any way, or I missed anything important, please let me know in the comments. I do plan on remaking this video sometime in the next few months, once I've become better at controller. With that being said, I'll catch you all later.